wasn't perfect, but hope it's giving you a little idea of who we are, what we do, and why we love it. So in that spirit, I'm going to ask the panel to briefly introduce themselves, and I think I'm going to start with Sarah Henry, who's the Director of Methodology and Quality.
Thank you, Matt. Good morning, everybody. So yes, I'm Sarah Henry. I'm the Director of Methodology and Quality. I joined ONS about 5 years ago, and I can't tell you enough how rewarding it is. I don't want to sound too sloppy, but I think the work that we do really underpins the economy and society. The statistics that ONS produce depend on really high quality methodology, making sure that what we do is transparent and reproducible and adheres to really good maths, basically. Anything from the data collection right to the analysis and the modelling at the other end. If you have high quality statistics that everybody has access to, you can ensure that you've got a stable economy and a stable society. And we made a big contribution to the fact that this country's weathered a lot of storms and still weathering storms over the past few years. Don't underestimate how important it is to make sure that everybody has access to that high quality information. And methodologists underpin all of that, which is why it's so important and so exciting. We can offer so much interesting work. So really hope that we can answer your questions and that we'll see you in the recruitment process going forward. Thank you.
Lovely, thank you, Sarah. I think it's like Rachel, could you introduce yourself and tell us a bit about what you do and why you love it here?
Sure, thanks, Matt. So my name's Rachel Skentleberry. I'm the other Deputy Director within the Directorate alongside Owen, who you heard in the video. So I'm Head of Quality and Improvement, and as the name suggests, this is all about the quality of our statistics, but also the data management, how we manage data, making sure that we unlock that power of the data to do all of the things to inform government, to inform policy making, to inform decision making, making sure that we've got the best foundation for that. Also, as the name suggests, really interested in how we improve things. So, you know, we're in a good place now, but actually things can get better. And we're really, really keen on continuous improvement, thinking about the way we do things. Are we doing things in the right way? Can we be more innovative? Can we do things in a different way to improve things? And I think that's what gets me really excited and keeps me really interested in the job, is that we're always looking to improve and, you know, not just turning the handle of what we've done, you know, for years and years. It's about how we do things better. In terms of why I love the job, or showing that I love the job, I actually started off my kind of civil service career in methodology as a methodologist, and loved the work. I did move around a bit. I went and worked in some other government departments, and then I actually came back as the head of methodology because the work is so interesting, and that's the kind of, you know, the work that I love across government, and making sure that we unlock that power of data to make those decisions. Thanks, Matt.
Fantastic. Thanks so much, Rachel. Lovely. So we'll keep meeting the rest of our panel. I think I'm going to come to Christina. Could you say who you are and what you do next?
Hi, I'm Christina Spoyala, and I work as a statistical methodologist within the Method and Research Hub. I'm relatively new to the ONS, so I've been here about 7 months, and I largely work with economics data, how to improve methodologies, and a lot of time series data. And one thing I've really enjoyed so far being within the ONS, and specifically methodology, is being part of different expert groups, which are these groups, not just of experts, but also of non-experts that get together and work on specific statistical methodologies. So in that way, I've dipped my toes in a few things to learn and to grow. So yeah, that's from me.
Lovely, thank you. I'm going to work around my screen to Rosalind.
Hiya, I'm Rosalind Archer. I've been at ONS for, well, about 5 years, but methodology 3 years. And yeah, sort of where I work, so I work in the Statistical Infrastructure and Design Hub, and to sort of reiterate what we've heard from Sarah and from Rachel, innovation, I think, is kind of where we are with it. So my team, what we do is we support the statistical sort of usability of the data that we want to use to transform our stats. You know, we want to make our stats more timely. We are always looking to improve. But with that comes that responsibility of, yeah, sure, you can churn a number out, but is it any good for what you want to use it for? And that's one of the sort of core methodologist roles. So happily from my side of things, I can give you a couple of examples of what that looks like in practice. One of them is we're trying to come up with new methods to understand sort of this new kind of data we're working, this new data approach. How do we actually articulate the quality? Can you say what the bias is? Can you say what the uncertainty is? How do you explain that to people who are going to use it? And then another example of what we're doing is sort of in that innovation area and in the improvement sort of thing that Rachel was talking about. We're looking at graph databases. So ways to hold our data, ways to hold information about the data so that it can be used in a more flexible way so that you can keep on sort of growing it and improving it as you go. But I'll leave it there. I'll get carried away, Matt. But yeah, what's a really good thing about working at ONS? Well, I'm going to be greedy and pick two. One is the innovation side. There's multiple times when I've had the chance to sort of almost work on a problem with sort of like a blank slate, and that's been really great, you know. And the second thing, which I think is really great, is, well, frankly, the community. I've met so many lovely people at ONS, and there's a very sort of supportive community, especially in methodology in that sort of area. So yeah, that's me. Thanks.
It's fabulous. Thank you, Rosalind. I love it. So next up is Steve.
Hiya, I'm Steve Martin Drury. I work in methodology in the Social Statistics Hub. I've been in ONS for 20 years now, and in methodology for the last 5 of those. And to be honest, I would not want to leave. I've worked on a lot of different outputs, primarily sample design and estimation, although I've worked on some census work and I've worked on some imputation. Why I love working in ONS or in methodology particularly is 2 things really. The first is the absolutely huge range of subject matter experts that I get to work with. There's some absolute geniuses in their field working in ONS, and also the links with academia that comes with that as well. We've got some really, really intelligent people working on some really innovative solutions to the problems we face. And the other one is the ability to do things like this, to go out and engage with the public, to go out and engage with people, to make presentations, to let everyone know exactly what a good job we're doing in ONS. That really gives me a buzz.
Thank you. That's fantastic. Yeah, I love the variety of what we do here. So next up is Joanne.
Good morning. I'm Joanne Finney. I work with Rosalind actually in the statistical.
I think we may have lost Joanne there. The dangers of online events. You get a good seat, but sometimes the audience has a weird moment where the performers freeze. But there we go. Oh, you're back, Joanne.
I think I'm back. Am I back?
There we go.
I'm so sorry about that. My internet's been a bit troublesome.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I've got the thing telling me to reconnect. Right, I will return to my flow. I'm Joanne Finney. I've been in ONS for nearly 11 years. I joined as an RO and worked in a variety of roles. I started by researching the future of the census in beyond 2011.
Very dramatic pause. What happened in the 2011 census? I wasn't here at that time. It's clearly massive. It's this level of dramatic pause. All right, apologies. I think we'll have to come back to Joanne if we can later on. But coming to the end of our team then, we have Sam Trace.
Hello, well, I've only been with methodology 1 year and the ONS for 2. So what do I love about it? I mean, the first, it's just some really, really wonderful people, not just experienced, knowledgeable, but also really kind and willing to share that knowledge. So that's one of the key amazing things for the ONS. Oh, similar to Steve, I'd never want to leave either. And second thing is, yeah, I can only echo what it says about the expertise level. We have expert groups here, and I'm the statistical disclosure control one, where you seriously world-leading experts in their own fields, and you can draw on that and learn from it. So that's one of the amazing things you get to do here.
Thank you, Sam. And I left myself for last, not the best for last, I'm afraid. So I'm Matt Thompson. I work in the Government Data Quality Hub. So I'm not necessarily a statistician, have a bit of a different perspective, but very much focused on the quality part of what methodology and quality do. So I think the thing that I have loved most about being here, I've only been here for about just over a year now, but it's similar to what other people said, really, the sheer variety of what we do and being able to know that the impact of the work that we do really seeps out into almost everything that happens across the ONS and even wider across government in all the data and all the statistics that are going out to help the public understand the world that we live in. All right, lovely. So thank you everyone for introducing yourselves. We are going to head back over to our Q&A. So we have one question already, and I think as we go, please do put your questions in there. We really want to give you the chance to ask about the jobs, ask about the ONS, and to make yourself feel as prepared as possible to put in a really good application and to really succeed when we hopefully meet you at the interview stage. So please do pop your questions into that Slido. As I said, you can head to slido.com and use the code methodologist1, or you can use that little QR code there in the top left. But looks like our first question, a nice fun question. What is the opportunity you are most excited about at the ONS? And I'm sure there'll be lots of opinions on this one, but I think I'd like to start from a kind of big picture perspective. Perhaps Sarah, you have something you're really excited about.
Thank you. So I think what's most exciting and will particularly be most exciting about this decade is that we are really elevating the type of methodology that we need, because we need to integrate different types of data. So we used to kind of really understand theoretically survey data, and most of what we did was related to surveys. And if we had some administrative data like information about births and deaths and that kind of thing, these would be kind of standalone pieces of research which required methodology that was really understood. What we're finding ourselves doing now is almost needing to progress a paradigm shift in methodology, because we need to bring together data that comes from different sources. A lot of it isn't random. A lot of it isn't dependent on the kind of theory that we studied in university and that we know really well. So those opportunities enable our people to really get involved even at the international level in really cutting edge research. And I think that's really exciting.
Amazing. Thank you, Sarah. I'm sure there are other opinions. Does anyone else like to add to that?
Not sure if we just jump in there, Matt. Do we just jump in?
Please
Should
do.
be raising my hand. You know, just to sort of slightly like build on what Sarah was saying. Yeah, that's kind of whenever I mentioned transformation, I kept that quite like high level because there's a lot of detail in that one. But yeah, one of the biggest things that we're trying to do is to sort of move towards a slightly like a different type of data. And yeah, there's a lot there where you're trying to bring together lots of different sources, and it's not clear. There's this like really well-established framework for how to draw an inference from a survey and make it reflect your population like a beautiful mirror. And the sort of the data we've got, it's almost like you've got a bunch of different mirrors, but they're all slightly a little bit off. And so it's that thing of how do you kind of like reproduce that beautiful image of the population that you're looking for. There is a lot to sort of work on in that. But what is exciting, and I think I've seen that sort of in the Statistical Infrastructure and Design Hub, is instead of having those meetings, maybe where you might be scratching your head and going, where do we go from here? We've got stuff on the table, you know, and I could talk for ages about that, so I won't go on. But yeah, that's genuinely an exciting thing in ONS. We've got proper things that we can push ahead on, which I think, yeah, that's going to develop like a whole suite of new methods. Sorry, I'll leave it there.
Amazing, thank you. So I always love hearing Rosalind talk about so many amazing things going on in that hub. Lovely. Anyone else, feel free to jump in, raise hands, anything that you're really excited about. And remember that MQD is not just about methods, there's a lot of other stuff going on as well. I know we've got a lot of work going on in things like diversity and inclusion, lots of work going on in well-being as well, and some really, really fantastic initiatives going on that aren't just about pushing out great statistics and good quality data. It's also about making this a wonderful place to be and to work.
I can jump in if that's
please.
okay. I've managed to restore my connection. Sorry about earlier. I'm very excited about the project I'm one of the leaders on at the moment, which is delivering a statistical methods library, which is going to be a central library for approved statistical methods for use within the ONS and the wider public sector. And the use of this library will ensure that the best methods are on there, the best ways of doing things, and things are done in a standardized way, a transparent way. So yeah, very excited about that.
Amazing, thank you. And Steve?
Yeah, I wanted to say on one of the aspects of working here, rather than just dealing with the data and the statistics, that I've been closely involved with recently, and that is the absolute utter care that ONS takes over their employees at all levels. When the pandemic first happened, obviously everyone started working from home, and literally from the first or second day, there was lots of check-ins, lots of caring about people. We've expanded our number of mental health first aiders and mental health allies. We're genuinely, I get the impression that everyone from the top down is utterly interested in the well-being of every single person who works here in everyday life, and it's becoming fully embedded into the culture of ONS.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know, well, Steve, Christine and I are all mental health first aiders. I think we all train together as well. So it's lovely to have a few of us on the call today. Fantastic. All right, so move on to our next question, and feel free to pop your hands up or jump in. What sort of training is available? That's either formal training or on the job.
Shall I give a kind of the sort of higher level view as so I lead the capability working group and the steering group actually within methodology and quality. So there are, I'm sure others can come in with more detail, but there are absolutely both types of training. So there is formal training, there are courses that people attend, there are also lots and lots of resources online, so you can do training in your own time. But a lot of the training is on the job as well, and quite a few people have mentioned the expertise that we have within the directorate, and you know, it is outstanding. If I've got a question that I need an answer to, I know who to go to ask, and we've got a wealth of knowledge and people really willing to share that knowledge as well. So we have seminar series, we do kind of working groups trying to solve particular problems, bringing a group together. So there's lots and lots of training and development opportunities available. There's also things like we sponsor people to do part-time PhDs and MScs as well, so there's some more formal academic training, and we have lots of partner relationships with universities too, so getting to work alongside academics on pieces of research and things like that. So lots and lots available, but I'm sure some more people can come in and give a bit of detail about what they've done too.
That's fantastic. Thank you, Rachel. I think Steve was first in with the hand.
Yeah, I was just going to give a personal perspective, as I have literally 2 weeks ago finished a master's module with Cardiff University looking at databases and modelling, which was absolutely fantastic. I had so much support from ONS and the other people there. Just waiting on the results now, because obviously I've got to wait till the end of the exam period, which is the middle of July. That's the most frustrating part. In my time at ONS, though, I have studied literally everything. I've got an A-level in economics, I've got MVQs, I've learnt Japanese, and that's just the formal training that's available. Online through Learning Hub, there is literally training on every computer package you might possibly need, R and Python and SQL. And on the job training, literally from the day I sat down at my desk in methodology, I've had people coming over. Do you need help seeing how to do this? Can I demonstrate this to you? What do you need? Literally anything I ask is reciprocated almost instantly. I can honestly say I haven't gone a single day in the 5 years in methodology without learning something.
Yeah, I think I definitely feel the same. Thank you, Steve. Rosalind.
Yeah, just to sort of slightly reiterate what's gone before, I found that on-the-job training really helpful, because sometimes like we are encouraged to do courses, we are encouraged to attend conferences, you're encouraged to sort of build things up. Sometimes it's kind of quite hard to always find the time to put that in along a full-time job. But my experience has been that massive amounts of training in the role you're doing, simply because you'll be given a fresh problem. You know, it won't be a given that you'll know everything that you need to know before you do it. You know, you might be given a fresh problem where nobody knows how to do it. You know, there is no training available. But what you find is that sort of often within a team and even across teams, and you'll build up a network of people you know. So, you know, I know of people sort of, you know, you build up capability. Like I've got a little informal tutorial with a colleague from a different team to sort of help improve my coding to the next stage on this Friday. Looking forward to that. And you get other sort of slightly more involved things that you get sort of mentoring, you know, in little projects, especially through those expert groups. So if you're particularly interested in learning something, you know, put aside a little bit of time every week to work on a specific project, which is maybe not related to your main work, but it's there to help you learn, sort of learn in the middle of that actual hands-on, you know, guide at your side type training. So yeah, lots of opportunity.
Amazing, thank you. And Joanne.
Hi. Sort of related to training, a way that I found that was really useful to really learn my role. And in some roles, you'll get an opportunity to do this. In many roles across methodology, is actually deliver training. And ironically, that's a really good way to learn even more about your job and your role and become a real expert. So I just wanted to add that.
Definitely, yeah. Thank you very much. All right, so move on to our next question then, which very true. The roles are very varied, which I definitely agree. Methodology is incredibly varied. So what are the common skills or attributes that we are looking for? And the first thing I'll say is obviously in the adverts, we do list specific things about the people we're looking for, such as actual qualifications or knowledge, and also some particular things that you understand you're able to do. So do read very carefully that person specification section of the advert, but also remember there's a candidate pack attached at the bottom of the advert. So do read that as well. It gives you more information about more specifically what we're looking for, and just make sure that you kind of in your initial application, make sure you're really hitting that kind of person specification piece, so that we know you're the right person that we want to talk to more. But beyond that then, does anyone have any things they'd like to talk about? Perhaps things that perhaps you had to learn for this job, things that you figured out were the right things for you to do when you're coming to methodology, or things that you're looking for people who are joining your own teams as well. Yeah, Joanne.
Hey, I just want to say that in terms of common skills and attitudes, we are an inclusive organisation, and we embrace all different kinds of personalities, attitudes, because everybody has a unique perspective. Everybody has a different way of seeing things, and it's something that helps us learn and grow as an organisation, being very welcoming to different skills, different attitudes, different ways of doing things. So I'm just going to say that really. Thank you.
Lovely, that's brilliant. Thank you very much. Rosalind, you were next.
Yeah, that's a really good question, because it is very varied. And I suppose I'd almost caveat this whole thing with, if you've got a specific thing that you're good at and you like doing, chances are you can find the right sort of role where you get to do lots of it. So, I think this sort of ties in with the on-the-role training. Like, for example, really helps if you've kind of got a bit of a brain where you can sort of plan a project. I don't. I have a much better one now, but that's because I've got fabulous colleagues inside the SID hub who are very good at project planning, and they work with me, and I've learned a lot. So in a way, it's kind of, there are little soft skills that are great, but there's nothing that you can't pick up. I suppose if there was one thing that I think really it's good to have, it's just that openness and willing to learn. That sort of that willingness to develop some self-reflection, so that you can regularly kind of go, what am I finding easy? What am I finding difficult? How can I make that better? You know, and you'll find that sort of your line managers are very sympathetic and they want to help you thrive. So, you know, as long as you are happy to enter into that, I'd say that was probably the single thing that I reckon it's good to bring to ONS.
Yeah, absolutely agree. And I think especially in that point of interesting to talk about attitudes, and it really is that kind of desire to just learn more and a love for statistics and really kind of getting under the hood, as it were, and really understanding what's going on in the background as we develop these better methods. Does anyone else like to contribute?
It's that curiosity, I think, that I think is probably something that a lot of us have in common, is how do things work? How can we make them better? That kind of curiosity and almost creativity, really, actually, with statistics. How do we do things in a better way? How do we make things work? Really helpful.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that creativity, being kind of on the front line of developing new methodologies, you know, things that people haven't really thought about before, and that's what we do, just to make it constantly better. Fantastic. Okay, so our next question then. What is it about methodology particularly that makes it a good place for a graduate? This is a very, very exciting question. Who would like to go?
Might leave this to someone who's graduated more recently than me.
Yeah. Do we have anyone who joined as a graduate?
I joined as a recycled graduate. It was my second time around, and yeah, what I found was the support for learning is fantastic, and it's not just the hard skills, the coding, and the how do you do this process. It's also the soft skills, and you get coaching on both of those things. I've been benefited from the Women in Leadership scheme, and and the High Potential program. Both of those things really help you to take off and take what you've got already and really shape it. And there's the space and the time for you to do that, and that really makes it great.
Definitely. Joanne?
I would add to that. I joined as a mature graduate, albeit 11 years ago. But I would say that for me, it was a clear career path. That was the most helpful thing that made it a good place for me as a graduate to join, because I knew almost immediately the direction in which I wanted to go.
Thank you. Christina?
Yeah, I haven't joined as a graduate. I graduated about 5 years ago, but I think it's interesting the kind of skills you can pick up, be it soft skills as well. So, for example, I've joined a working group, the diversity working group, and there are other working groups on different themes across the directorate. And here we've been putting surveys together, we're putting workshops together on microaggression. And I think in this way, you can also grow these kind of leadership skills outside of the statistical skills. So I think these are like really great opportunities, and a variety of interests are met really by these working groups, or you can set up your own working group if you feel something's missing within the directorate. I think that's a good point to grow.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's a great point as well. It's great to see support from our senior leadership team like Rachel, Owen and Sarah, how supportive they are of when you want to set up something new. If you see a gap in something that we need to address in terms of building our culture or building out our work better, then yeah, it's great to see that kind of support. And I think maybe it's that curiosity and that desire to do better that's really from the top and feeds all the way down. So absolutely brilliant. All right, lovely. So next question, what are you looking for in an application? So I mentioned earlier, obviously, in the application, make sure that in your initial application, you really understand that person specification, and make sure you are kind of hitting on that and demonstrating that you are in the right place for us to then want to talk to you more. And we always love talking to people and having interviews. So also having come to this as well, I think you've made a really good step to get yourself the information you need. Don't forget, you can also contact myself. My email's on the advert, and I'll pop it in the chat towards the end of this as well. So any questions that come to you later on, feel free to add that. Steve?
Yeah, speaking as someone who's sifted the last 3 or 4 rounds of recruitment, the thing I'm really looking for in an application is detail. The number of applications you get where it's a couple of paragraphs, you've got a lot of space on that application form. Put in as much detail as you can and show enthusiasm about what you're doing. The more detail there is, the more likely we're going to get you into the interview, because we want to hear about the work that you've been doing. We genuinely are interested in the work that graduates are doing before they come in, and that people have been doing in other government departments before they come in. The more detail you put in, the more you're going to pique our interest and get us into a really good interview.
Absolutely. Thank you. Joanne?
I'm also a sifter, and I'm looking for in an application evidence of what you have done and achieved, and based around the situation, task, action, result sort of format as well. But evidence, that is key. Describe in great detail, as has been said, what you've done and what your track record is. You'd be absolutely fine.
Definitely. And to build on that as well, I think we keep saying describe what you have done. I think something that people often do on a application is say, as part of the team, we did this and we did that. And actually we want to know, what is it that you did in that? And we're not expecting you to have, been in charge of dozens of people and a massive, massive project, but we're really interested in the bit that you did and what you delivered and why you cared about it and why it went well, or what you learned from when it didn't go well as well. It's absolutely fine to say, you know what, I did this, I learned that, and this is the methods I applied doing that. So equally interesting to really know who you are and what you have done.
And the impact and rationale behind the work that you did. Even if it was a university assignment, imagine that it had it was something that was pertinent to the real world. Try and align it to what the impact it would have had in the world out there.
Definitely. Fantastic. So our next question then, a lovely question. What would a normal day look like? I don't know if I've had a normal day since I started. The wonderful thing I think is that every day is different, but there are some constants in terms of the excitement of knowing, actually, you know what, today I'm going to learn something new. Or today I'm going to keep working on that really exciting project. But would anyone like to kind of describe, what sort of things would you consider a typical type of thing we might do?
I guess I'll come in and say that the first thing I do is I which of the bunch of different things I want to work on first and prioritize. That's the first thing I'll do every day. And then, is it coding? Is it organizing something like this, an interview and recruitment events? Is it something I'm working on the side, like organizing seminars? Is it, or is it, core to my job, which is I'm currently organizing an intruder testing program, which is a part of our statistical disclosure control, and it is which thing do I want to do first? And that's a major thing you'll find is there's lots of opportunities to diversify what you do.
Go ahead, Rosalind.
Hiya. Well, tell you what I'm doing today. So this meeting, a chance to do a bit of kind of like an outreach event where we get to meet you guys. I've got time set aside to go through inbox and emails because there's a lot of connectivity across ONS. I've got a meeting all about the graph database work that I talked about and progressing that to the next stage. That's all getting very exciting because our colleagues were turning a bit of a corner in that. I have actually put aside, and this is common in ONS, you work your day to suit you, especially in MQD. It's another reason that I like working here. So I've set aside a bit of time for me to step away from my desk because I'm quite introverted and I find that I need time to kind of let my brain calm down again. So I've got an afternoon then, and I will be well prepped to get really stuck into some coding in our our main coding environment, where I'll be working on some new metrics to measure quality. And then I've got a line management meeting where I will kind of get in touch with my line manager, get a feel for that bigger picture around what we do, and sort of make sure it's also a little bit of a check-in to see if I'm doing all right and if there's anything that I need to speak to my line manager about. And that is kind of a typical day, a bit of everything. I think it depends a little bit on the role you've got as well. Whenever you first come to ONS, you might find that you have a bigger proportion of your time maybe with more technical things, and then sort of as people kind of progress, you find a little bit more of that kind of cross-group working starts to happen. But the truth is you can flex your role quite a lot. So if you're someone who loves technical stuff, as you kind of move up, you can find time to do it. And if you're somebody who's really interested in those big picture things, you know, we've had a bunch of people on this call talking about being involved in different working groups, which really do work across the whole ONS. So yeah, your day might look a lot different if you come to join us. But yeah, a nice variety probably.
Yeah, definitely. I don't know about you guys, but I've had to have about 6 different sections of my to-do list for all the different types of things I do, which is a nice way that I keep myself organized. But yeah, definitely variety, and all sorts of things that we're doing every day. So lovely. All right. So next one then. Any advice on how to prepare for the interview? Which is an excellent question. Yeah, Joanne.
Hi, I'm also an interviewer. So I would say format your answers, get some examples ready, situation, task, action, result, focus on that. Your answers should be concise to questions as possible. You definitely need to provide detail, but if you go into a long rambling sort of answer, you'll run out of time for the interview for the questions that interviewers need to ask you to really understand your skill set. So the other thing I would say is hone up on your technical skills. Absolutely really prep your technical skills, whatever they are, and know if you're going to give examples about statistical tests, make sure that you know everything about that statistical test, including the assumptions that underpin it, also, and why you would use it, that sort of thing. That's what I'm looking for. And for the behaviours, situation, task, action, result, I behaved in, I was given as this was a situation, this was a task. I took this action, I, me, I did this and this, very short sentence on what the result was.
Yeah, absolutely. Anyone else? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, it's a really good question, actually. And Joanne's right, there are things that you can do to sort of prep, to sort of make sure that the time is well spent in the interview and things like that. I've done a bit of interviewing as well. I must admit, my favourite bit of the interview is where the interviewee relaxes a bit. And then you notice in their face when it's like, this is the thing I love doing, and they start talking about it. And yeah, you don't want to ramble, fair enough, but we like to see what you like to do. We like to see how you tick, you know, we like to see what engages you, you know, and sort of the sort of thing that makes you enthusiastic. So I guess what I'd say is, yeah, do prep, make sure you've got that evidence on hand, but also, you know, we're looking forward to having a conversation with you and getting to know you a bit. So yeah, you can relax a bit as well.
Definitely agree. Thank you, Rosalind. Steve.
Yeah, I would say off the back of what Rosalind was saying, some of the best advice I had, because it took me 5 interview attempts to get my promotion to SRO. The best I had advice was between number 4 and 5. And that is, you know what questions you're going to be asked, so practice. I got my partner to randomly of an evening ask me one of the questions, and you answer it 5, 6, 7 times. When it comes up to the interview, it's pat, you don't think about it, there's no nerves, you're relaxed, you relax into it, you go on to all the details, but you've done it so many times that there's very little thought process involved. And then you're so relaxed that if they come back with other questions, you're ready for them.
Yeah, definitely. I think building that, and also what Rosalind said, it's a conversation, and actually it's as much an opportunity for you to know if we're right for you as it is for us to know if you're right for us. So do take the opportunity to really engage with things you're passionate about, and take the opportunity as well to ask your own questions of us. I know in 1 or 2 interviews I've ended up interviewing the panel myself at one point because I was so fascinated about what they did, which was brilliant. Yeah, Joanne.
Sorry, I just wanted to add as well, at the interview itself, focus on the questions that you are asked, because you might have prepared to death for a question that you think you're going to be asked, and then you're asked a slightly different question that's worded in a slightly different way. So make sure that you can adapt your examples and your answers to a number of questions in your prep. So yeah.
Lovely. And Christina.
To add, if reasonable adjustment is needed, make sure to ask for this. And for example, given that we all have different types of learning or how we react to information. If you feel like you need to write a question down, feel free just to tell the interviewees that will be more helpful for you to write things down. I think we want to be as inclusive and adjust as much as possible for different kinds of needs. So yeah, and feel free also, just to take a breather and take a couple of seconds before you answer something. You don't have to answer it straight away. And even another lovely thing is, if you don't feel like you can say anything now, you can write it down and come back to it later. So there's also time to answer a question a bit later rather than just in the moment.
Yeah, Steve.
Yeah, just one quick add-on to that. A lot of people, when they go for interview, think the interviewers are trying to catch them out. Genuinely, as an interviewer, we are trying to help you pass. We are trying to get the information that you have already inside you out to us. The interviewers want to help you through.
Absolutely. Yeah, very much so. Fantastic. Thank you. So I think we have one more question on our list, which is quite a fun one. Are there any opportunities to travel? Obviously, the past couple of years have been a bit difficult. Also, though, I have a couple of colleagues in my team right now who are in Vilnius in Lithuania for the Eurostat conference. They're presenting some papers, they're meeting all sorts of people. I think my hub leader is meeting a lot of her colleagues from the UN Statistical Quality Working Group, which is really exciting. But yeah, would anyone else like to talk about travel? Steve?
Yeah, from a personal perspective, I was at the RSS conference for 3 days within about 6 months of joining Methodology. I've been to a few conferences around this country. I haven't left the country myself, but that's through personal choice. A friend of mine who joined Methodology within a few months ended up spending 2 or 3 weeks in Rwanda, helping their statistics organization to get themselves organized and get themselves structured and how to conduct surveys properly. So the opportunity for travel is absolutely there.
Rachel?
So yeah, I'm sure everyone will talk about the places they've been. I've been some presented at some nice conferences around the world. So I was in Canada a few years ago, talking at one of their conferences. So there are opportunities to travel, definitely, if you have got something to present. So one of the things that we're really keen on in methodology and quality is getting the work that we do out there. So talking about it at conferences, publishing papers, really making sure that we're giving kind of equality of access to the really great work that we're doing. So there's that side. So there's the conference side and the kind of publication side. On the other side, Steve mentioned we help out on international development as well. So our teams sort of travel around to help other statistics institutes develop kind of methodology or quality practices within their organizations as well. So there is a bit of an outreach program there where we support others. We also work really closely on some of the sort of on the economic side and the population health side with other kind of national statistics institutes around the world. So we've got some partner organizations who we work with on certain things as well. So quick answer, there are opportunities to travel, quite varied, and we're all hoping to travel a bit more now that the restrictions aren't in place.
Yeah, definitely. And Rosalind?
Yeah, so to sort of build on what Rachel was saying, for me, some travel came as part of the partnerships that we have with other national statistics institutes, and that was with Stats New Zealand. So basically, the context I've got in my head is that some of the partners we've got, one of the really good reasons we're partners is because we've all got kind of similar statistical problems that we're trying to solve in our own way, for our own countries. And so there's some really fruitful collaborations that you can set up, and sort of one of those was with New Zealand. I came in with a bit of knowledge about Bayesian statistics. And they've got some particular Bayesian methods, and somebody else was going over for census. So I had a 3-month secondment to Stats New Zealand. I lived in Christchurch, and we had a lovely time and did lots of statistics. And off the back of that, we also then developed sort of some good relationships with the people there. So now we've had somebody come over to us, and they've been developing sort of a new type of estimation procedure, which I won't go into. I could go into and sort of spend ages on that. But the point is that there are those connections, and it's really about sort of developing a little bit of a network. Sort of, that's where those opportunities come from, I think. But yeah, a good place to start is a conference, I reckon. That's where you start to meet people, and as Rachel says, your research starts to plug into this wider network.
Amazing, thank you. Oh, I'd love to go to New Zealand. We've got a colleague from New Zealand who came from Stats New Zealand, and we're very jealous when she goes home and shows us all the wonderful photos, and then does lots of great stats, I'm sure, as well. Christina.
Yeah, I'm relatively new, so I haven't yet been to any conferences, but I have travelled for a team away day to the Titchfield office from London. It's nice to have for team cohesiveness, to have people come together, but it was also like a hybrid event for people who didn't or couldn't make it. So I think that's also important to bear in mind, that we work in a hybrid way, and there's opportunities to meet team away days.
Yeah, absolutely. It's nice having kind of 4 different locations across the country, really, covering sort of from Darlington all the way down to Newport, Titchfield, and London. And yeah, I've had an opportunity to meet a few colleagues in a few different places as well, which is always lovely. And as I said, I think the hybrid nature of working means that actually, if you're someone who can't or doesn't want to travel, then actually you're not going to end up excluded from an event where people are traveling for something. So I think definitely in some ways the pandemic has really accelerated that across the whole world, not just within the ONS. But yeah, great to make sure that actually travel opportunities are there. But equally, if it's just not something you can fit into your life, then it's not going to restrict what you can and can't do in this sort of job. So fantastic. Lovely. Well, I think that is all of our questions, and we're almost perfectly to time. So just want to say thank you so much to all of our wonderful panel for being here today. Thank you everyone for attending. Huge thanks also to Errol, who has been in the background diligently working the Slido for me and making sure everything is nice and smooth. So thank you all for being here. Please, if you have any further questions or something occurs to you later on, you can just drop me an email. It's matt.thompson@ons.gov.uk. I'm happy to get back to you on anything about the process or any other questions you have about working here as well. So, well, I think we are going to call it there. So thank you again, everyone. And to get in touch, good luck with your applications. And we really look forward to meeting you at interview and then welcoming you to our wonderful team this summer. So thank you all. Have a wonderful, wonderful day. Goodbye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.